region, what can actually be done to stop extremists from wiping out cultural history? To help answer that question, Elizabeth Stone joins us now from Stony Brook, New York. She's a professor of anthropology at Stony Brook University. Thank you so much for joining us, Elizabeth. You've actually visited a number of the destroyed sites Ben mentioned in his report. What went through your mind when you heard about the destruction of antiquities in places like Mosul, Haftra and Nimrud?
Well, it's really a terrible thing, but I think it's a terrible thing for, it's part and parcel of a larger effort by ISIL to destroy people's cultural heritage of all kinds. And it goes along with, bombing tombs, destroying mosques. They've been doing kind of widespread destruction just to kind of eliminate any cultural heritage that isn't part of their own worldview.
As you talk about this effort to eliminate anything that isn't part of their worldview, to wipe away the history, as it were, how much damage has been done in that context? I mean, help us understand the significance of what has been lost.
Well, I think you started off with Aleppo, which is a city I lived in for a year. That seems to be, the old city of Aleppo seems to have been almost totally destroyed. I think that the archaeological sites are more difficult to destroy. Still, a lot of material is underground, and so you would really have to do some serious excavations. From what I can gather, what they've been doing is going after standing monuments, and of course we all saw the video of the destruction that was taking place in the Mosul Museum, where they were kind of smashing statues. It's bad, but it's part and parcel of a larger thing that they're doing, which is looting archaeological sites and just taking all the materials out of them, ripping them out of context, breaking the things they don't like, and selling anything that they can sell. So that it's all part of a larger scheme that's going on.
You touched on the looting. It's not just the destruction, there's also the looting that is taking place. These items are being sold on the black market. I mean, what do we know about the black market and the demand for these antiquities, and really how they're able to pull this off?
Well, I mean, it's the West. I mean, it's not so much anybody in the Middle East who's so interested in these antiquities. It's Western collectors. And, the same thing happened right after the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The southern Iraqi sites were terribly looted for certainly the first 6 months that the U.S. were there. Site after site just totally pockmarked. And that material came out. One of the things you get from Iraq are cuneiform tablets. If you could read them, you know they're genuine. And the people who work on cuneiform tablets are not always as scrupulous as perhaps they should be in terms of what kinds of materials they work on. I mean, most archaeologists will not touch anything that is not clearly prevenient, but not everybody follows that, and collectors couldn't care less.
I want you to expand on something you said a little bit earlier. You said there's been widespread coverage of the destruction of ancient artifacts, but there hasn't been enough coverage, enough context given to the destruction of Islamic heritage and history. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, in some ways, going after the Iraqi sites and the Mosul Museum is a fairly late activity for them. They started off by blowing up all kinds of shrines and Shiite mosques, anything that was not part of their very narrow view of what Islam is. Many of these are saints' shrines that were absolutely fundamental to the beliefs of people living in the area nearby, and were really much more devastating, I think, to those local populations than what's happening to the Iraq Museum, and really, I mean, the museum in Mosul, and really, so it's just a broad attempt to kind of destroy people's connection with whatever they think the past is.
And very quickly, can anything be done to stop this from happening? I'd imagine you are involved in conversations with your colleagues who are working in this field. And, I mean, what are your thoughts? Can anything be done to stop the destruction of these priceless antiquities? We're now worried about Babylon.
I'm a little concerned about, I don't quite understand the worry about Babylon. I mean, Babylon is only going to be in danger if ISIS takes Baghdad and everything further south. Baghdad is significantly further south from Baghdad, and it doesn't look as though, at the moment, if anything, they're being pushed back in the area of Tikrit. So I'm not really worried about Babylon. But in terms of what can be done, defeat ISIS. I mean,
Plain and simple. Except it isn't.
Somebody needs to win that war. Otherwise, I don't know what else can be done.
Elizabeth Stone joining us there from New York. We so appreciate the insight and perspective today. Thank you.